I'm back with yet another very nuanced conversation about perfume collecting. In my past few videos where I've been trying to kind of bring some awareness to the overconsumption in the perfume community, I've had a lot of people that have resonated with those videos and I've gotten really great feedback. So that just tells me you guys want to see more of these videos. All these videos I've been doing are coming directly from someone that has been and even is now somewhat of a perfume collector. I don't like to think of it that way. I think of my perfume collection now more as my investments and my inventory when it comes to this channel and the content that I bring. Obviously, I love the scents that I have and I enjoy them and they are for me as well. But I think somewhere along the way of this perfume hobby, if you will, this love of perfumes, we've kind of lost the plot. And that is why I started making this content. Somewhere along the way, perfume collecting went from being fun and exciting and like a hobby to feeling less like appreciating perfumes and more like trying to keep up with all the newness. And obviously, because these companies are seeing that people are collecting these massive perfume collections, they're also coming out now with perfume what feels like every 5 seconds. I've been doing my new perfume launch videos that I used to do maybe once a month, and there was, you know, a good chunk of perfumes. Now I do those videos so much more often. Actually, I have one coming up, even though I feel like I just filmed one barely 2 weeks ago. And there is so many new perfumes. They are rapidly coming out now. Whereas before, launches happened every once in a while, and it made it that much more exciting because it was only 1 or 2 perfumes we had to focus on. Whereas now it's like hundreds of perfumes are coming out all at once and they're thrown at you. So today I want to kind of talk about the subtle ways that this hobby can go from being enjoyable to when we kind of lost the plot, which I feel like we're kind of in that right now. And you're gonna be like, how do you know that? Maybe people are still enjoying collecting perfumes. Go and read the comments on this video that I did where I was talking to you guys about all the things that I've learned from spending thousands on perfumes and having this massive collection. Just go and read the comments under that video and you'll see how many people resonated with the topic. So hopefully this just brings some awareness. That's all I really want these videos to be. I'm not changing my content. I'm still gonna continue to review perfumes. I'm still gonna talk about perfumes, but with some mindfulness thrown in there. And I know that these videos are resonating with you guys, even if some of you don't want to hear them right now. I think at one point you might. My first point is sometimes we're collecting dopamine and not actually perfumes. Back when things weren't out of hand, the excitement of owning perfumes came from actually wearing and enjoying the perfume. But I believe now it comes more from the research, the videos that you watch, the high you get from placing an order, tracking the package, unboxing, first impressions. But then once all of that is over, our brains start to look for the next purchase, because this entire process that I just talked about, that is super exciting for your brain. That is a dopamine hit and our brains love dopamine. Let's just have a little lesson on dopamine. A lot of people think dopamine is the pleasure chemical. Dopamine is more so this thing that our brain tells us where it's like, oh, pay attention, we need more of this. This is worth repeating because this feels really good. Our brains evolved this system to help us survive thousands of years ago because dopamine is what motivated humans to find food, find water, find shelter, learn new skills. Without dopamine, we would have no motivation to do any of that because there is pleasure that comes from chasing all those things. And shopping activates this reward system in our brains because our brains love novelty and possibility. So when you're scrolling on a website or you're scrolling on TikTok videos, your brain is thinking, what if I find something amazing? If I buy this, this could make me super happy. This will improve my life. It starts thinking of all these things, getting you excited, and that is a super addicting feeling. The anticipation that you get causes our dopamine to rise. This is before we've even purchased anything. It's just the anticipation, the excitement. That is what dopamine is. But this is also a very vicious cycle that has no end unless we realize what we're doing and what this is actually doing in our brains. So to simplify this even more, you see something you like, your dopamine rises. You imagine owning it, your dopamine rises even more. You finally click buy now, it's like a reward, even more dopamine. You get an email that your package was shipped. Another boost. Then it finally arrives and that is the peak excitement, the peak of your dopamine. But just a few days later, maybe even a few moments or hours later, that excitement fades. And that is why we go on to the next purchase, because that entire cycle is super exciting and thrilling for our brains. Our brains are wired to love dopamine. Dopamine encouraged our ancestors to survive. But the problem nowadays is that modern life provides constant and easy sources of dopamine, such as shopping, social media, video games, junk food, and so on. All these activities trigger the same reward pathway, but it's happening now much quicker than our brains have evolved for. And so it's so easy to get hooked on this feeling because it feels so good, but it's also never ending. And not to get too deep or too serious, but a lot of people have ruined their lives. I mean, think about gambling. That's exactly the reward pathway that's involved in that. And people have ruined their lives with things like gambling. Not to turn this super serious, all I'm saying is there really is no end, especially in this day and age where, for example, we're talking about perfumes, there's a non-stop influx of perfumes coming out. You can never get fully satisfied. You're just gonna chase and chase and chase and chase. You're gonna drain your bank accounts and you're really never gonna be fulfilled. It's just a little dopamine hit and then another one and then another one. It's not a long-term satisfaction. It's just a short-term excitement. When I first got into perfumes, I thought what I loved was owning perfumes and wearing perfume. Don't get me wrong, I do. But when I really sat down with myself, I realized that my favorite part was not actually owning the perfumes. It was watching the reviews. It was researching notes. It was comparing perfumes, checking Fragrantica, adding things to my wish list, finding good deals, good sales, waiting for that shipment confirmation, tracking the package, opening the bottle, smelling it for the first time, and it's so exciting. And then just a few days later, I'm like over it. Not because the perfume got bad, but because our brains adapt to new things really quickly. So instead of enjoying what we just bought, we're thinking, what's next? And so before you know it, you're repeating that cycle over and over and over again. And at some point you've amassed this humongous collection that you're super overwhelmed with. And you're just like, oh, how did I even get here? My second point, somewhere along the way, collecting became performative. Now, I don't think that people do this intentionally. And I don't think everybody that collects perfume only collects perfume to be performative. But if you think about it, years ago, if someone had a perfume collection, it really reflected what they liked and who they were. It reflected their personality. But I feel like now collections feel more so like a checklist. I saw this person had it and this other person had it and all these people have it, so I have to have it too. Everyone has the same viral perfumes, the same trending niche perfume releases, the same must-have gourmands. And that's not because everyone just has identical taste. It's because we're all exposed to the same recommendations every single day. So originality starts to just go out the door. Sometimes I've had to ask myself, do I actually want this? Or do I feel like I have to own it because everyone else does? So I want you all to also ask yourself those questions next time you buy something. My next point is loving perfume and loving shopping are not the same thing. You might think that buying so many perfumes and having this humongous collection makes you just super passionate about perfumes, but those are actually two very different hobbies. One is appreciating scent and the other is just consuming products. This has definitely gotten out of hand as we've seen all over social medias. I mean, you can go on TikTok, people have huge collections. They have rooms dedicated to their perfume collections. I wanted to point this out because I got a comment in one of my videos where I was talking about having a massive collection. I don't know which video it was exactly, and I'm not gonna say this creator's name because I'm not trying to come for them specifically. I'm just using this as an example because I think it's kind of crazy. But somebody basically said that this creator literally bought a whole other house for their perfume collection. Now, I understand that for a lot of influencers and creators, this is their investment and this is how they make their money. And obviously the fact that this creator had the means to buy a whole other house just for their perfume collection shows that they're probably doing well, which is great. But it's like, is this necessary? And there's this fine line where I'm like, I don't want to judge, but at the same time, I'm like, that's insane. But then by saying that, I'm judging. I mean, I think we can all agree that having a whole other house just for your perfumes is kind of crazy. You can love perfumes and you can be super passionate about perfumes without feeling the need to purchase every single release. In fact, when I slowed down and started purchasing less and started really getting to know my perfume collection, when I curated it more, I started appreciating my collection so much more. Because when it was huge and I had over 400 perfumes, I was overwhelmed. Sometimes I would just ignore it and pretend that it wasn't even there because it was just so much stuff, and I had decision fatigue just looking at it. Whereas now that I've slowed down and I have not even half of that, whenever I wear a perfume now, I appreciate it so much more. I notice all the little details and nuances of that perfume. I now am more able to revisit perfumes that I've forgotten about for a little while because I can, because there's not so many of them there. I built stronger memories with certain perfumes because I was actually wearing them more and wearing them to more occasions or vacations and whatnot, instead of immediately moving on to the next bottle or next purchase. This made me realize that my passion had never left. I still love fragrance, I love smelling good, I love perfumes, I have since I was little. But somewhere along the way, because of social media, it just had gotten a little hidden underneath all of the constant feel to chase the next release. And my last point is that the finish line is never ending. There is no finish line.
The limit does not exist. The limit does not exist.
When I first started collecting perfumes, I was like, I want a really good vanilla little collection. Then I had that. Then I moved on to cherry. Then I moved on to strawberry. Then I moved on to this other note and this other note and this other note. But that is never ending, and especially nowadays where perfumes are literally never ending, coming out at the speed of light, there is never going to be a point where you're gonna be fully satisfied. Because even if you think you are in that moment, that next release will be like, oh, that's exactly what I'm looking for. And you're gonna get it and you're gonna be like, oh, now I'm satisfied. I have this perfume that I've been searching for forever. Then the next release will be that again. You never know what's coming out, so that means that there will never be a finish line. There's always going to be something new and something that you've always wanted. Now we have so many other more like niche notes. We have banana perfumes coming out. We have rice perfumes coming out. We have all these more niche notes coming out. The list will never end. So your goal should never be to finish collecting perfumes because you're chasing something that does not exist. New releases will never end, and that fully satisfied feeling that you're chasing is also never gonna be there. Those are all my little points for why I feel like perfume collecting nowadays has just gotten out of hand. I want to make it very clear that I don't think collecting is all the way bad. I think it just comes to a point. If buying perfumes truly makes you happy and you're not having this feeling like you constantly have to keep up with the new release and the new limited edition release and this and that, and you also can comfortably afford these new launches, then that's fine, that's great. Even now that I've slowed down, I still review new perfumes, I still get excited about new launches, I still love researching and all the things that I used to love. This video is simply just a bit of mindfulness to ask yourself why you're buying something before you buy it, so that you're not just running on autopilot. Basically realize what dopamine is. First of all, do a little research on it and realize exactly why you're doing what you're doing, because dopamine is this innate feeling that we all have. We want to feel good, but that is never ending. So I think simply being made aware of that changes the game. It did so for me anyways. I think when we become a little bit more intentional, we actually start to appreciate our hobbies so much more. So let me know in the comments if any of these points resonated with you. I'd love to know your opinions. I know these are a little bit more of nuanced conversations, and it's also maybe a little confusing that these are coming from someone that actively literally has 100 perfumes. I think someone asked me in a past video if I wasn't a perfume reviewer, would I have this big of a collection? And that is absolutely no. And maybe I wouldn't have said that a few years ago, but now I can fully and 100% say that it would absolutely not be even 100 perfumes that I have right now. I think I may even have a little bit more than 100 at this point. But just keep in mind that the reason why my collection is that big is because I need to have variety for the content that I do. I think if I didn't do this as my job, I'd probably feel happy with just maybe 30 perfumes. I know that that's still a lot, but because of what I know now after having this like 400 plus collection at one point, I think I could have everything that I need with just 30 good, solid, curated fragrances. That's not to say I don't love all the ones that I have right now. It's just, you know, because of what I do, I need to have a little bit more to work with. And I am thinking about making a video on decluttering, how to declutter, because I also had some people that said I'm at this point where I'm feeling really overwhelmed with my collection and I don't know what steps to do next. And being someone that also did a lot of declutters, I feel like I got really good at decluttering and I never really regretted any of the declutters that I did. So let me know if you want this video of just how to go about downsizing your collection and curating it, and how to actually get rid of those perfumes so that you actually get a little bit of money back. So let me know if you want a video on how to successfully curate and declutter your collection. But that is it for me today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't already and turn post notifications on, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.